everybody, I'm Jennifer Ashley Tepper, Creative and Programming Director at FEINSTEIN'S 54 Below, and I'm here with 4 of the amazing writers in our new Writers at 54 series, which is a series happening this summer, introducing you to great work by some of today's hottest emerging writers. I have this amazing group with me, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves, tell the audience your name, when your show is, and one fun thing about you, starting with this lady on the end.
Oh, great. I'm Kailey Marshall. My show is August 14th at 9:30 p.m. And a fun, interesting fact about me is I just started drinking coffee, like literally 2 weeks ago. So I'm really excited to be drinking this year.
Congratulations, Kailey.
Thank you. I'm really, really pleased about it.
I'm Sam Willmott, and my date is August the 10th at 9:30. And a fun fact about me is that I am on a systematic tour to eat at all of the dim sum establishments in New York City, and I'm being very deliberate about it to try to figure out which ones are the best for different kinds of dim sum.
I didn't ask everyone for a fun food fact, but I'm really enjoying the theme we've created ourselves.
That's good, right?
So if you do want to give a fun food fact, feel free.
I like that.
Well, I'm Sam Salmond, and my concert is July 31st at 7 p.m. And on the theme of like coffee, so I was raised Mormon and was not allowed to drink coffee, and so I'm excited to drink this. And every time I drink it, I feel like I'm rebel.
I love that.
My name is Eli Bolin, and my show is on August 2nd. And continuing the coffee theme, I was just telling these guys that the very first time I drank coffee, I was 13 years old, and I decided to make myself an entire pot of coffee, and I drank it all, and I stayed up until 2 in the morning.
So I need to ask, is there a particular aspect of your show that you're really excited about, either a performer you're working with or a specific song you're doing, anything you're really excited to share?
I'm just really pumped for all of the new material I've written. It's probably like 10 songs that are brand new that I've just written in like the past 2 months. And there's a few of them that I'm like, oh shit, that's a hit. And like, because that never happens. Like that happens like once every 9 months probably as a writer. You're like, oh, that one's really good. And it happened to me twice. So I'm like, I'm so excited to share those songs. And I'm singing a lot of them, so I'm really excited to like show myself as like a pop performer. So
that's your new tagline, Kailey Marshall, oh shit, that's a hit. That's really a good tagline.
I'm really excited about, I think, the relationships with all of the performers and creatives, and there's sort of like 2 categories. There's sort of the people with whom I've done a lot of stuff in the past and they feel like family to me, like Tony Sheldon, who is just the greatest man alive, who will come in and sing some stuff, but also the new relationships and seeing where those take us. My director Sammy Cannell and music director Madeline Smith, who I had like first, I can't. I had like
I love her so much.
I can't. It's like I had the first like meetings with them, and it was just like you could just like it's just the best feeling, and like the feeling of total tabula rasa of like what could this now be? What is this conversation going to lead to? So like the combination of those people that I feel really safe with, plus the people that it's like all open with, is really exciting.
Like everyone in my show, I'm like in love with or starstruck by, which is going to be really fun to put together. And then I think the thing that I'm most excited about, because I'm like literally in the middle of writing it right now, and like we'll go home and hopefully finish it, is this song from this World War II musical that I'm writing that is about like these female factory workers at the end of the war, and I'm writing this opening number that includes like my favorite thing, which is just women pounding drums. And so it's going to be like a group of badass women like pounding drums and singing at the top of their lungs. So I'm excited for that.
Love that.
Can I do mine again? Because you said everyone but Eli, and then I got nervous. I was like, because I feel like I can do better job. Like Sam said, I'm really excited that there's people that are like very dear to me that I get to work with again, and there's people that are new to me also. I'm really excited because actually my director is this guy Moritz von Stulpnagel, who I did my very first concerts with in the city like 10 years ago at Ars Nova, and it was so much fun doing those shows with him. And then like we got busy with other things, and I kind of forgot that I was like, oh wait a second, Moritz directed those concerts for me. I want to call him and see if he wants to do this one, and luckily it worked out with the schedule, and so we're gonna do this one together. And then someone who I've worked with in little bits and pieces, but never on a full show, Julie McBride is gonna be my music director, and she's like such a genius and amazing musician. And then someone I'm excited to who's in the show is like Nick Blameyer, who's such an amazing writer himself, but he also has this like amazing like sort of like he's got kind of this like Justin Timberlake, like Jewish Justin Timberlake thing going on that is like incredible. I don't know if he's actually Jewish, but I can say that though because I am Jewish, so I'm allowed to say that. He's incredible, and there's like some songs of mine that he didn't found in New York a couple of years ago that there's no record of them because that show hasn't been recorded yet. And so I want there to be some like people to get to hear him sing these songs, yeah, I'm really excited to hear him sing these songs again.
That'll be so great. You should check out our website for the people that are in all these folks' shows because the lineups are amazing. There's so many great performers and directors and musical directors. Check it out, 54below.com/new writers. Tell us about, so I know some of you have done your own shows at 54, some of you haven't. Tell us about that. Like, is it your first time doing your own show here? Have you done one before? What's your history here?
This is my second time doing this. When I was a senior in college, I actually contacted 54 Below and was like, hey, I want to do a concert, and did one. And now looking back at that, I'm like, I had so many balls then. Like, very impressive for like the
So
senior
many.
in high
You had, like,
senior
3 balls.
like 3. Senior in college being like, yeah, I should definitely do this. And it was such a fun experience, and I got to do it with like a lot of my friends from college, and then also like a few guest performers, and I music directed it, which I will also be doing this time around. And I'm also going to be singing most of the material. So yeah, I love it. My parents love it. They always want to sit in this booth. They call this the Game of Thrones booth. They like that front center. Like,
the royal
They feel
booth.
very fancy. Yeah. So they're like how can you get us this? And I'm like, I don't know. You just have to figure it out. So they'll figure it out.
I love that. I've secretly named each table in this building after like the most famous person that sat at it. So right now I'm in the Alan Menken seat. Like I just love Alan Menken. I sat here once, so I just felt like sharing that.
That's really cool. I'm gonna make you name all of them.
Yeah. It's like let's go sit in the Hugh Jackman table after this.
Yeah.
I love that.
I've never done a show here before.
Yeah.
Though, back in the baby days of 54 Below, there was another new writers kind of a thing, but it was like a bill splitting situation. And there was a night that was me and Katie Thompson and Andrew Lippa, and we each did like a couple of songs, and it was a wonderful special night. And it was like, but it was so many moons ago, and so I'm excited. This is gonna be a different thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Welcome back, both of you.
This is my first full show here too. I've done like songs here, similar thing to that, and my friends have done songs and shows here, but this first full night.
This is this is my second night of doing like a bunch of different songs, and last fall I did a show here of a full musical that I've been writing with my friend Mike Petrie, and a bunch of songs that he and I have written together in the show. I don't know, like a thing that I do is I write with a lot of different people, so it's really nice to get to do a show like the one I'm about to do, where I get to sort of share a lot of those different collaborations at once, which is, I don't know, I'm really excited about that.
That's super exciting. So speaking of musicals, do you each want to kind of zoom in on a musical you're working on? Because I know you're all working on many new musicals at the moment, but maybe tell us just like one show you're working on and a little bit about it. It doesn't even have to be something people will hear from at the concert, although it could be.
I've been working for a few years on a show called 86 that I'm going to do a bunch of songs from in the concert.
It's really great. It's so good.
I'm excited to do it. We've done like readings and workshops and stuff, and I'm excited to share some songs. And there's going to be songs that like no one else has heard with the full band before. But yeah, I don't know.
Tell us what it's about.
It's based off a book called 86 that is about this character BJ in 1980s New York during the height of the AIDS crisis, like the year right before any sort of treatment is even available, and he's this like very closed off person and has sort of like isolated himself from the community, and then ends up meeting this old one-night stand who ends up in the hospital, and he goes to visit him, and then sort of through that journey like learns to open up and like love and be available to your community. That's funny too, hopefully.
I was yesterday realizing, so Gentleman's Guide was in development for 25 years, and clearly it won Best Musical, so like, we don't all have to be like, it's been years, because like 25, and then won Best Musical, you know, anything can happen.
Hopefully a little shorter.
Yes, hopefully a lot shorter, but that's still, it both gives me hope and depresses me at the same time, so I thought I should share it.
Absolutely.
I'm working on a show called Bangin' It, which is an intercollegiate competitive Punjabi folk dance musical.
Yes.
So it's basically, we like to pitch it as like Bend It Like Beckham meets Bring It On, more or less. So
both of those movies.
good, right? not bad, not bad. So it's about Bhangra team competitions, and Bhangra is this Punjabi folk dance, and like throughout the states, different groups of people come together and do these big, like full-scale competitions, and like against one another, against different colleges. And so our show is basically a celebration of the dance, but also a celebration of multiculturalism and American pluralism, and what it means to be an American in 2017.
Cool.
So yeah.
I'm really excited.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Me too.
I've been working on this show called Songs for Slutty Girls for a while. That's basically a song cycle that is continuously growing and changing about being a woman and a sexual woman in this time and place. And I feel like we need more musical theater songs like that for women out there that shows that we are sexual beings just as much as men are. And then I've also been working on a show called Portrait of Joe, which is about James McNeill Whistler's muse. He's the guy who painted Whistler's mother. And she was his muse, and he painted her in a lot of different paintings. But she also was a painter in her own right, according to like one line in one little biography somewhere. And I just kind of have been running with that story and imagining what it would be like to be a woman in the 1800s who depends on this man to further her career, but at the same time desperately needs to break away from him to create something new for herself, and what that looks like. So yeah.
I've been working on a show a lot recently called The Last Song of Eddie Scourge, which is a sort of rock and roll Christmas carol about a contemporary washed up rock and roll star who was in a band with a guy who OD'd, who's kind of like a Jacob Marley sort of guy. And he has an estranged daughter, and on the night of his big Christmas special, on Christmas Eve, he is visited by the ghost of his dead partner and sort of goes through this cathartic experience. But again, it's funny. It's actually a very funny. It's a very funny show, and it's very rock and roll, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Cool. Tell us about something like what's inspired you guys recently, whether it's like a show that you loved, or like even a TV show, a movie, a human being, like a weather report. I don't know. Anything. What's like inspired you recently?
Indecent was incredible.
Oh, that's so good.
Indecent is so good. I'm
Yeah.
so sad it's closing. Or maybe by the time you're watching this video, it will have closed, in which case you missed out if you didn't see it.
But if you can see it, go see it. It was so moving, and it was like a show that within like 5 seconds, I was like, this is the greatest thing around. Like I just fell in love with it. Such a journey, and so theatrical. So that's something that really inspired me. I'm trying to take that poetry and like lyricism and importance and apply it to my life. My art.
Sorry to be this guy, but
Like I hated it.
No. I literally, you're reminding me actually, I think like right after this, like we should like wrap this up quickly because I'm gonna go run there and get like 3 more chances, right?
I always wonder if like when you're watching these video things, people actually do the things they say they're going to do after. There was this like amazing video that came out last week where Christian Borle and Jen Colella were interviewing each other. They kept being like, we're going to go get a steak after this. And I was like, I just really want to know, did they get the steak? So you're going to have to
Did
report.
they?
So I don't know.
Okay.
Follow up!
Inquiring minds,
I'm
inquiring minds.
going to follow up on that. And I'm also going to follow up with you to find out later today if you got a decent ticket.
This is really
I really wanna know.
this is really good. It's like you check in and and like I'll be accountable.
Okay.
It's on tape.
Yeah, totally.
I was very upset. I mean, like, I'm upset a lot, but I was very upset by the Paris Agreement situation. And I feel like we all have our particular triggers when it comes to political situation, kind of no matter where you fall on the spectrum, that there's certain issues that are more galvanizing for you than others, and this one really sent me into a huge tailspin. But sort of also within 48 hours, and talking about it with this really dear friend of mine, became very, very passionate about the idea of writing a musical about Galileo, and where those contemporary parallels are, and like. There's going to be songs from it in the 54 Below show. I mean, like I had much. Writing is not like an easy feat, and it's never fun or awesome. But going through this first song was so much more straightforward because everything that I have felt very suppressed to say, or can't shout at my computer about, or don't know who to talk to because I'm just speaking to people that agree with me. I felt. Able to parse into rhyme and structure, which in some ways really helps my brain compartmentalize it. So I don't often like to write for myself, and ideally I would like it to be something that we can all share, but at present it's proving to be a very cathartic experience for me to work on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've been getting real inspired by ladies in pop recently. We're living in a beautiful year of songwriting in the pop field. Carly Rae Jepsen's Cut to the Feeling is probably the best summer jam I've heard in God knows how long. Lord's new album is fantastic. Paramore's new album is really, really good. Just some really great songwriting coming out of the pop field, which is something that I feel very inspired by. I've also been, much like you, politically inspired recently. I won't even say this is politically inspired, it's just like stuff that happens that I want to start talking about more, especially in the theater realm. I've been having some incidents lately with like men in theater in sexual assault and like situations like that that happen all the time. And since we are in a theatrical arena, the lines are a lot blurrier here than they are in, say, like an office space. And so one of the songs I'm gonna premiere in this 54 Below concert is called Bad Men, that has to deal with like kind of the thing that a lot of women I know in the theater industry have talked about experiencing in their workplace, and things that like that needs to stop, and that I want to be talking about and writing music about. So yeah, I've definitely been inspired by that a lot lately.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think because the times are, I feel like the times are sort of dark right now in a lot of ways, and there are such like triggering issues, like I mean things are so screwed up with like climate change, the Paris Agreement, and there's almost like things like like you're talking about like sexual assault, that like we have like an administration that seems like obviously like they don't really care about that, or like we have can I talk about this? A president who like endorses that, or is like himself a product of that's who he is. So I find myself like both like grappling with that and thinking about that every day as someone like who's married to a strong woman, and I have a child. I'm the father of a son, and I think about like what I want to pass on to him. And so I find myself just like I find like my son is like my biggest source of inspiration right now, because he's like so innocent and can be like shaped by like what we do, and how we raise him and what we expose him to. I don't know, just the time I spend with him is really the most inspiring thing in my life right now. That and comedy. I think
his son is also a YouTube sensation.
My son is.
That.
Thank you. My son is a YouTube sensation because he knows like every Beatles song, and he can sing every Beatles song, and he can like start to play a Beatles song within like 2 seconds. He can tell you the name of the song.
How old is he?
He just turned 3. He's crazy.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Hashtag check it out.
Check it out, Walter Bolin. He's great.
Walter.
Now we're all inspired by him.
And then the thing that I saw this year so far that I actually loved the most and made me feel the best was actually Oh Hello. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it's like the funniest thing that I saw in years, and I still think about it all the time. And now you can watch it on Netflix, so go check it out. You really have to.
I loved all the plugs in yours. That was very good.
So many plugs. And the Beatles, they're a great band. Have you heard of the Beatles? They're actually on they were my favorite band probably since I was 3, and I still listen to them every day.
So here's like a challenge. So you run into a stranger on the street who's really excited to hear about your show, but they don't know anything about you or about your upcoming concert. How do you like tell them about it in one sentence? Like, what do you say to them? Oh God.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Funny, sad, catchy songs about being weird and love and pain and silliness and melodies and instruments and love and silly love.
I liked all of
Great
it.
sentence.
Yeah.
Solid sentence.
Juicy.
I'll say pop songs for outsiders and losers and gay people, you, random person.
Ooh, that's good.
Sure.
That too.
I would say, do you like live mermaids?
That's great.
You're
That's it.
I can't do that. I think I wrote this in my concert description. Pop rock jams about female empowerment that are going to make you want to dance in the aisles and text your ex when you shouldn't.
Oh!
Kaylee, you have the perfect director for your show because
I
our
know.
friend Max Friedman is literally everything you say about your show. I'm like, oh, it's perfect. You guys all have great directors, like people on board that are right in there with your aesthetic. It's really cool. So here's like a random question. I just like to ask this. What's the weirdest job you've ever had? I'll go first. I carried these coffees to this table and was terrified. I was never like coordinated enough to be a waitress, but I was a hostess at the Roadhouse Grill in Boca Raton, where my job was to like sweep up the peanuts that people like
Texas
stomp
Roadhouse?
on the floor. In Florida, it's just called Roadhouse, Kaylee. Like, I don't know. But
okay.
but like people like crunch peanuts into the floor, and I had to like clean them up all the time. You know, like humming falsettos to myself or whatever I was doing to get through that. So yeah, tell us your weirdest job.
I worked in a deli for a while, and this was back in Pittsburgh, and I would have to like, the busiest days were always like football Sundays. Like, how would I say football Sundays means like clearly it's not something I care about.
I think football might be on Sundays. I don't know.
I think, but they would come in and like people were really aggressive about like the lunch meat that they needed for their game, and like would always try and engage in like sports talk, and I had no idea what to do. So that was a weird job. My brother also worked there too, and we would like sneak off. It was the deli was like in this grocery store, right next to the bakery section, and we would go on like missions where one of us would cover and like be on lookout, and the other one would sneak over and like steal cookies. That was my job.
I was an administrative assistant at a company that made like outdoor jacuzzis, and the building was right next to like the giant warehouse area where they made the jacuzzis. So like everything smelled so strongly of this like chemical plastic smell that it like even like the whole office did. So like I would go in, and then when I left the day, I just like it was terrible, guys.
That sounds like a movie where like everyone, hopefully there is not, but like poisoned. Like that sounds like a Julia Roberts movie, is it not? Like, it is.
Yeah, like Aaron Brockovich.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
totally.
I love
But like jacuzzi poisoning.
Yeah.
Oh, I used to look totally different. It changed me.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I currently so this is like, are we talking like weird and negative, or like
Oh,
weird
no.
and like
Sam brought cookies. I mean, Eli's
Okay.
like a jacuzzi story. I don't
Okay,
know.
because this is like weird, and my favorite thing that I do also is that I continue to write educational English songs for Korean babies. And yeah, it's my absolute favorite thing that I do, and so basically I get from this company in Korea called English Egg, I get texts from them that are sort of like C-Spot Run-esque kinds of books, and then I have to set them to music, but the deal, and like make them as catchy as possible, because the idea is that if the kids can learn learn the songs, they'll be more liable to like want to participate in the learning process, and like they'll get it better. But the trick is that the books are like prose. They're not song structure. So, and they can go in any number of plot directions. So then it becomes like a big exploration of like what is the strongest possible style choice or pastiche that can be used to sort of bring this thing to life in a way that is going to be resonant cross-culturally with 5-year-olds.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Kids that I've never met, but I see little videos of them with their tiny little pigtails, and they apparently send them off to Korea where there's like a sort of gladiatorial match of like whether or not the kids like it before they record it. And like all these like very judgmental 5-year-olds are like, I don't know about Hamster Hunt.
Yeah, harsher than Brantley, like the Korean children.
Yeah, tough.
What's your favorite song that you did? What's the like?
I'm very partial to What Do You Have in Your Purse? Mostly because purse is a very underutilized word. Purse and pocketbook. Why don't we ever say that anymore? We say like bag. Bag,
Yeah.
nondescript.
We definitely don't say person lyrics either.
I
Like,
know.
yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
Worse, curse.
Oh.
There you go.
So many
Wow.
possibilities.
So many possibilities.
Beautiful. My weird job that I actually still do now, and this is going to be very polarizing. I take online classes for people who don't want to do them. Someone will send me their login codes, and I will take the entire class for them online.
Wow.
For money.
That is fascinating. You're getting some secrets here in this
So,
new writers.
so
at
they
54.
don't do any of the work.
They don't do any of the work.
What sort of classes?
Mostly like music. Like most of these are like gen eds that people are like, I don't have time for this. Which to me is crazy because like, why would you pay so much money to have like someone take a class that's like not even that hard?
Right.
So I mostly do like music appreciation courses, but sometimes I'll do like, I did like a women in psychology one and like stuff like that. But yeah, they don't do anything. And it's not illegal. I definitely looked into this. It's just highly frowned upon.
I'm glad that you said that because I was like, are we going to need to cut this? I hope
It's just frowned upon. So
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Don't you feel like you're learning so much more about these amazing writers that you're going to love their shows, and now you love them as well? I need to know, is there anyone in the business who you look up to, like a writer or someone whose work you really loved growing up? Anyone in particular?
Shayna Taub.
She's awesome.
She's also just a really nice person, and that's something that is first and foremost to me, because I feel like sometimes you meet your heroes and you're like, wow, you're not a nice person, this sucks. Shannon Taub is a very, very nice person. She's incredibly talented, and her songs just like cross the line between that pop and musical theater world, which I love, and also R&B a lot as well. And I just love her work. And she's also a great activist too, like the things that she does for about like gun control, and also I know she's writing a piece about the women's suffrage movement right now. So like, that's goals. She's really, really cool.
Honestly, like one of the things that I find most inspiring and like one of my favorite things to do here is, people collaborating for the first time. And Emily Skinner and Alice Ripley actually sang one of Shannon's songs in their last show. And it's like so exciting to have people who you like, I listen to them, like they introduced me to like Cy Coleman, and now they're like introducing some kid to like Shannon Taub, who we love. So it's like how exciting that all these people are going to be singing your guys' stuff, and some kid's going to watch it either here or on a video. It's like so cool.
I couldn't second Shannon Taub more
Yeah,
strongly.
she's
So like, if you're not on it, like get on it. And in terms of also contemporaries, I would also add Ben Scheuer to that list. Ben Scheuer of The Lion fame, who's an incredible songwriter and storyteller, and dear friend, wonderful, nice person, and smart dude. In terms of like the adults that are in the business and the generation, the fan mail that I wrote most recently, slash I think the first fan mail I wrote in my life was to Andre Bishop and Ira Weitzman for King and I, which was sort of just that production will keep me in the business for another 10 years. It was just like the thing I needed. So anyone who had anything to do with that show, but specifically, I think to them in many cases for their leadership. But that extends, of course, to the whole team and all of the performers and everything. But and then in terms of like historically, I'm just like a huge gay for Rogers and Hammerstein, and Frank Lesser. Frank Lesser, especially like most happy fella Frank Lesser, and also Hans Christian Andersen Frank Lesser.
Deep cuts.
Yeah.
I have two people, and one being the like person who inspired that William Finn like changed my life, and when I saw a college production, I like kind of knew what musicals were. I was in them in like high school. I was like, yeah, it's fun. Like we did Annie and Buy My Bird, and I was like, maybe I'll write a musical one day. And then I saw this college production of the Falsettos trilogy, and it changed my life, and was the first time I'd seen like complicated characters on stage, and like seen gay characters on stage, and was like smitten by it, and just immediately was, this is everything I want to do with my life. Is I just want to write something like that, and then he's also just been a great like mentor to me. I got to know him years later, and has like really been nice, which is cool. And then I'll say for like contemporary, happens to be my best friend, but Natasha Sinha is the greatest person working in theater, and she's someone that I'll go to. She's a producer, works at LCD3, and someone who I just trust with everything, and like any question I have about theater, about like just talking about shows that we like, or talking about the importance of art, and like making sure you're using your art for activism, and she's kind of my like guiding light.
That's so sweet.
But as you know, I'm also a huge Bill Finn fan, and the thing that made me click over into wanting to be a theater writer was also a college production of Falsettos that I saw. I was not lucky enough to have his trousers part of it. But and I was a freshman at Northwestern, and Kate Baldwin was Trina. She was a senior. It was the first thing I ever saw in college. It was in a little shack, and it was incredible. And it was the first thing I ever saw, and I was like, if this is the first thing I see in college, this is gonna be the greatest 4 years of my life. And it was probably still the best thing I saw in my career. Sure. But it was incredible. And I was like, well, okay, like now I understand like how. It was like a new kind of voice to hear and to see, which is crazy because at that point that show was already like had been around for a while, and I just had never been exposed to it because in like my high school theater program, like I was not going to be exposed to something like that. In terms of contemporary writers that I really love, I really love Alex Oyen. I think he's great. I really love Tim Kwang. And these are other writers in the series, by the way. And another writer that's in the series, and probably my favorite contemporary musical theater songwriters are actually Julia Meinwald and Gordon Leary. I think they are so good. I think the score to Pregnancy Pact is unbelievable. I really do. I'm just so in love with it. And if you haven't heard it, just check it out. It's incredible.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Everybody at home, check out 54below.com/new writers for info on all these guys' shows, some of the people you just mentioned as well. And we're so excited to have you here. Thank you for having us.
Yay.
Goodbye.